New Vision Channel presents to you one of the enlightening works of Don Miguel Ruiz. As a revered teacher of the traditions of the ancient Toltec mystery school, Ruiz has been dedicated to sharing the deep wisdom of the Toltec teachings with his students and apprentices for more than a decade. His teachings focus on guiding individuals towards personal freedom and self-discovery. In his engaging lectures, workshops, and excursions to sacred sites around the world, Ruiz effortlessly blends ancient wisdom with modern-day awareness, offering a unique perspective that resonates with people from all walks of life. Prepare to embark on a transformational journey with Don Miguel Ruiz, as his teachings illuminate the path toward personal growth, fulfillment, and meaningful relationships. Before we begin, if you're new here, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell. By doing so, you'll be the first to watch our latest videos. Also, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment if you enjoy our content. Now, let's delve into the book we have for you today. The Toltec. The Toltec civilization flourished thousands of years ago in southern Mexico, and they were widely recognized as women and men of knowledge. Rather than being a nation or a race, the Toltec were actually a gathering of scientists and artists who came together as masters, known as naguals, and students at Teotihuacan, an ancient city of pyramids near Mexico City, often referred to as the place where man becomes God. The primary purpose of the Toltec society was to explore and preserve the spiritual knowledge and practices passed down by the ancient ones. However, as time passed, circumstances forced the naguals to conceal this wisdom and keep it hidden. The arrival of European conquerors and the misuse of personal power by a few of the apprentices necessitated the protection of this knowledge from those who were unprepared or might intentionally misuse it for personal gain. Despite the secrecy surrounding the Toltec knowledge, it was transmitted through various lineages of Naguac across generations. Ancient prophecies spoke of an age where it would become necessary to reveal this wisdom to the people once again. In this era, Don Miguel Ruiz, a nagual belonging to the Eagle Knight lineage, has been guided to share the powerful teachings of the Toltec with the world. The Toltec knowledge is rooted in the same fundamental truths that underlie all sacred esoteric traditions found across the globe. While it is not a religion in itself, it holds reverence for all spiritual masters who have imparted their teachings on earth. The Toltec way of life encompasses spirit but can be best described as a way to access happiness and love in a readily accessible manner. In summary, the Toltec were a society of scientists and artists who sought to explore and preserve spiritual knowledge. They concealed their wisdom due to external threats and misuse of power, but it has been passed down through generations. Now, Don Miguel Ruiz, a nagual from the Eagle Knight lineage, is sharing the powerful teachings of the Toltec that promote love and happiness as a way of life. Introduction. The Smoky Mirror. The story begins with a human who lived near a city surrounded by mountains, studying to become a medicine man and seeking the knowledge of his ancestors. However, he felt a deep longing for something more and didn't completely agree with everything he was learning. One night, as he slept in a cave, he had a life-changing dream. In this dream, he saw his own body sleeping and came out of the cave during a new moon night. The sky was clear, and he beheld a breathtaking sight of millions of stars. At that moment, something inside him transformed forever. He looked at his hands, felt his body, and heard his own voice saying, "I am made of light, I am made of stars." Upon gazing at the stars once more, he had a profound realization. It wasn't the stars that created light, rather, light itself created the stars. This brought forth the understanding that everything is made of light and that the space in between, which may appear empty, is not truly empty. He discerned that all of existence is one living being and that light serves as the messenger of life, as it is alive and contains all information. From this revelation, the man grasped that although he was made of stars, he was distinct from them. He acknowledged that he existed in the space between the stars, which he dubbed the nagual, and referred to the stars as the tonal. Furthermore, he recognized that life or intent was the force that created harmony and space between the tonal and the nagual. Without life, neither the tonal nor the nagual could exist. Life represented the absolute, the supreme, and the creator of everything. His profound discovery was that everything in existence, including himself, is a manifestation of the one living being known as God. He understood that everything is God. Furthermore, he realized that human perception is merely light perceiving light. He also perceived matter as a mirror, reflecting light and creating images of that light. In contrast, the illusionary world, often referred to as the dream, acts as a smokescreen that obstructs our ability to perceive our true nature. He declared, "The real us is pure love, pure light." This realization brought about a tremendous change in his life. Once he understood his true nature, he started seeing himself in everything, in every human, animal, tree, water, rain, cloud, and the earth itself. He acknowledged that life mixed the tonal and the natural in various ways to create countless manifestations of itself. In those precious moments, he comprehended everything, and his heart overflowed with excitement and peace. Eager to share his discovery with his people, he found himself at a loss for words. He attempted to communicate his newfound truth, but no one could understand him. People noticed the transformation within him, the beauty radiating from his eyes and voice, and the absence of judgment towards others. He became different from everyone else, and while he could understand everyone, no one could understand him. They started to believe that he was an incarnation of God. He acknowledged the truth in their belief, stating that it was indeed true, that he was God. However, he also emphasized that they too were God. He explained that they were both images of light, reflections of the divine. Nevertheless, the people still couldn't fathom his words. In their perception, he was simply a mirror, reflecting their own image. They were unaware of their true selves, dreaming without consciousness or understanding of their own nature. He realized that everyone existed in a state of dreaming, but without awareness. The people couldn't see him as themselves due to a figurative wall of fog or smoke that separated the mirrors. This barrier was created by the interpretation of images of light, the dream of humans. Recognizing that he would soon forget all that he had learned, he made the decision to call himself the Smoky Mirror. This name would serve as a constant reminder that matter is a mirror, and the smoke screen that obscures our true nature is what separates us from recognizing each other. The smoke represents the dream, while each person is a mirror, the dreamer. In conclusion, this story delves into the transformative journey of a human who discovers his true nature as a being of light, resembling the stars. He realizes that life is the force that fosters harmony between light and the space in between. Everything in existence, including humans, nature, and the world itself, stems from the one living being known as God. Human perception is the act of light perceiving light, and the material world serves as a mirror reflecting light and creating illusions. The smoky mirror's revelation changes his perception of himself and others, allowing him to recognize his divine nature within everything. However, he is unable to communicate this truth to others due to the fog of their own dreams, leaving him as an unseen mirror reflecting their own image. Domestication and the dream of the planet. The concept of domestication and the dream of the planet explores the idea that humans are constantly dreaming, whether awake or asleep. This dreaming is the main function of the mind, and it occurs 24 hours a day. When the brain is awake, there is a material frame that allows us to perceive things in a linear way. However, when we go to sleep, this frame is removed, and the dream has the tendency to change constantly. Before we were born, the humans who came before us created a big outside dream that can be referred to as society's dream or the dream of the planet. This collective dream is made up of the billions of smaller, personal dreams that exist within society. These dreams create a larger dream of a family, a community, a city, a country, and ultimately, the dream of the entire humanity. The dream of the planet includes all of society's rules, beliefs, laws, religions, cultures, governments, schools, social events, and holidays. Upon being born, we have the capacity to learn how to dream, and the humans who came before us teach us how to dream in the same way that society dreams. The outside dream has numerous rules, and when a new human is born, their attention is hooked, and these rules are introduced into their mind. This process occurs through the use of repetition and various influences such as parents, schools, and religion. Attention is our ability to discriminate and focus only on what we want to perceive. While we can perceive millions of things simultaneously, using our attention, we can hold on to whatever we want to perceive in the foreground of our mind. As children, the adults around us hooked our attention and implanted information into our minds through repetition. This is how we learned everything we know. By utilizing our attention, we learned an entire reality, a complete dream. We learned how to behave in society, what to believe and what not to believe, what is acceptable and what is not, what is good and what is bad, what is beautiful and what is ugly, what is right and what is wrong. All of this knowledge, rules, and concepts about how to behave in the world were already in place. During our time in school, we sat in little chairs and focused our attention on what the teacher was teaching us. Similarly, when we went to church, we directed our attention towards what the priest or minister was telling us. This dynamic also extended to our relationships with our parents, siblings, and friends, where we learned to hook the attention of others. This need for attention can become highly competitive as children compete for the attention of their parents, teachers, and friends. The outside dream, or the dream of the planet, hooks our attention and teaches us what to believe from the very language we speak. Language acts as a code for understanding and communication between humans. Each letter and word in any language is an agreement, representing an agreed-upon understanding. Once we understand this code, our attention is hooked and energy is transferred from one person to another. We did not choose to speak English or choose our religion or moral values, they were already present before we were born. We were never given the opportunity to choose what to believe or what not to believe. We did not even choose our own name. As children, we did not have the chance to select our beliefs, but we agreed with the information passed down to us from the dream of the planet through other humans. Information is stored in our minds through agreement. The outside dream may hook our attention, but if we do not agree, we do not store that information. However, as soon as we agree, we believe it, and this is called faith. Having faith means believing unconditionally. This is how we learn as children. We believe everything adults say, agreeing with them, and our faith is so strong that the belief system controls our entire dream of life. We may not have chosen these beliefs and we may have rebelled against them, but we were not strong enough to win the rebellion. The result is surrender to beliefs in our agreement. The concept of domestication and its impact on man. According to the author, domestication refers to the process by which individuals are taught to conform to societal norms and beliefs. This process begins at an early age, where children are taught the names of objects and given rewards or punishments based on their behavior. Just as animals are trained, children are trained to obey and follow rules in order to receive rewards and avoid punishment. As children get older, they begin to internalize this domestication and become self-domesticated, punishing and rewarding themselves based on their adherence to societal norms and beliefs. This internal belief system is referred to as the law book that governs their thoughts, judgments, and actions. The book of the law consists of different beliefs taught to individuals, including societal, religious, and cultural beliefs. Unfortunately, many of these beliefs are not chosen by individuals, but are imposed on them through external influences. These beliefs often conflict with one's true nature and lead to suppressing one's true selves in order to fit the mold and gain acceptance and approval from others. Individuals may not question these beliefs due to fear of rejection, punishment, or not being good enough. The author highlights that individuals constantly judge themselves, others, and the world around them based on these beliefs contained in their law book. These judgments are enforced by an internal judge who determines whether or not individuals are guilty according to the Sharia book. The inner judge makes individuals feel blame, guilt, and shame when they go against the beliefs in their law book. Moreover, the author asserts that individuals often continue to punish themselves for their mistakes and transgressions long after they have occurred. This self-punishment occurs because of the strong memory that a person possesses, which allows him to remember and retrieve past mistakes, which leads to repeated feelings of guilt and punishment. Not only do individuals punish themselves, but they also tend to repeatedly make others pay for their mistakes, causing more suffering and injustice. The author believes that the beliefs stored in the minds of individuals, the Book of Sharia, are mostly based on lies and falsehoods. These false beliefs lead to suffering and fear on an individual and societal level. The world is described as a nightmare filled with violence, fear, and injustice, and is similar to the concept of hell as depicted in various religious teachings. However, the author points out that individuals have the power to challenge and change their beliefs. It takes courage to question the validity of these beliefs and move away from the cycle of self-punishment and judgment. By doing so, individuals can free themselves from the constraints imposed by societal norms and begin to live according to their truth and inner nature. Here the concept of hell appears as a state of mind rather than a physical place. It indicates that hell is already all around us in the negative emotions and suffering we experience in our lives. He argues that no human being has the power to condemn another to hell because we are already there, and others can only deepen our suffering if we allow them to. The author turns to talking about the personal dream that every person has, which is often governed by fear. It indicates that we learn to dream about hell in our lives and experience feelings such as anger, jealousy, hate, and envy. Our personal dream can turn into an ongoing nightmare, resulting in a state of fear and suffering. However, it also highlights that it is possible to have a sweet dream and feel joy. The search for truth, justice, and beauty is inherent in all human beings. However, the interpretation says that we are blind to the truth because of false beliefs and the fog of our minds. It indicates that we cannot see reality because we are trapped in a dreamlike state called mitotic, in which there are multiple thoughts and beliefs that conflict and prevent us from seeing reality. He asserts that we are not truly free and that this lack of freedom is a result of the illusions and agreements we have created in our minds. The author then delves into the concept of self-rejection and fear of survival. It suggests that humans are afraid to express their true selves and instead try to meet the demands and expectations of others. The pressure to accept and live up to these expectations creates an image of perfection, which is impossible to achieve. This self-rejection and dissatisfaction with oneself leads to feelings of dishonesty, frustration, and dishonesty. He argues that humans hurt themselves, both physically and emotionally, to gain acceptance and avoid rejection. Self-abuse, judgment, and lack of self-acceptance are seen as a product of the inner judge-victim belief system that humans have built. The explanation notes that we abuse ourselves more than anyone else, and the level of self-harm we tolerate is the same as the level we would accept from others. This self-abuse stems from the belief that we are unworthy of love and respect, which leads us to put up with abusive relationships. The idea that self-love is vital to reducing self-abuse is emphasized, as it is seen as the key to breaking free from the shackles of self-rejection. The author also discusses the agreements we make with ourselves and with others that shape our beliefs, behaviors, and identity. He argues that many of these agreements are built on fear and drain our personal power, leaving us feeling helpless and trapped. However, it does suggest that we have the power to change these agreements and reclaim our personal power. Finally, the author introduces the 4 agreements, which are presented as a powerful tool for breaking free from fear-based conventions and regaining personal power. She points out that embracing these agreements can lead to a transformative change in our lives, enabling us to create a new dream filled with joy and happiness. In short, this long explanation explores the concept of hell as a state of mind and argues that we are already immersed in it. It delves into the reasons behind our suffering, the illusions we create, and the power we have to change our circumstances by breaking agreements based on fear and embracing self-love. 2. The first agreement. Impeccable with your word. The first agreement in the book refers to the idea that your words should be flawless, which is said to be the most important and hardest agreement to fulfill. This agreement is seen as a means of transition to a higher plane of existence known as heaven on earth. The concept of being impeccable with your word may seem simple, but the book underscores its power and importance. The word is described as a gift that comes directly from God and is associated with the power of creation. The Gospel of John is cited to highlight this connection, where it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Through our words, we have the power to express our creative power and manifest everything in our lives. No matter what language we speak, our intentions and desires are communicated through the Word. What we dream, feel, and really be can be manifested through the words we choose to speak. It is important to realize that the word is not just a sound or a written symbol, it is a force that has the power to express, communicate, think and create. The author asserts that the word is the most powerful tool we have as human beings. It is described as a tool of magic, similar to a double-edged sword. Misuse of the word is seen as creating a living hell, while impeccability of the word can lead to beauty, love and heaven on earth. In other words, depending on how we use our words, they can either set us free or enslave us. The author warns against misusing words, describing them as black magic. It states that the word is so powerful that it can change or even destroy the lives of millions of people. For example, the book mentions Adolf Hitler, who manipulated an entire country into World War with the power of his words. His beliefs and agreements based on fear activated people's fear, which led to violence and war. The author acknowledges that the human mind is like a fertile ground where seeds are continually sown. These seeds are opinions, ideas and concepts. Just as the seed grows when it is sown, the word is described as the seed that grows in the mind. The problem is that the mind tends to be fertile to the seeds of fear rather than love. Therefore, it is important to realize the seeds that our mind is ready to receive and plant in order to be fertile for the seeds of love. Hitler's example is used again to prove the power of the word. He spread seeds of fear through his words that grew in strength and caused massive destruction. By understanding the tremendous power of words, it is essential that we become aware of the consequences of what we say. Even a single word can create a chain reaction of events and drama. This is like casting a spell, where people often put spells or negative influence on each other through their words without thinking. In conclusion, the author stresses the importance of being infallible with our word as the first agreement. It emphasizes the power of the word in creating and manifesting our desires, as well as the potential harm that can be caused through the misuse of words. By being aware of our words and using them accurately, we can create a beautiful and harmonious existence on earth. In fact, what we do is use our words to cast spells, to create black magic. We use the power of our words to bring harm and destruction to others, all in an effort to make ourselves feel better or to get revenge. We constantly spread gossip, perpetuate lies, and infect others with our negative and toxic thoughts. The effect of misusing this word is enormous. Not only does it affect the person we directly harm with our words, but it also spreads like a virus, infecting and poisoning the minds and hearts of everyone it touches. We create a world full of mistrust, fear and suspicion, where everyone is constantly judging and blaming each other. But it doesn't have to be this way. The power of the word can also be used for goodness, love, and healing. When we choose our word to be flawless, we are making a conscious decision to use our words in a way that uplifts and empowers others. We take responsibility for our actions and our words, and we choose to tell the truth. Being impeccable with our word means not using it against ourselves or others. It means expressing love, gratitude, and kindness in our interactions. It means that we use our words to build each other up instead of destroying each other. It means choosing our words carefully and consciously, knowing the impact they can have on ourselves and others. The truth is, we have the power to break the spells that have been cast on us. We have the power to be free from opinions and judgments that hold us back. By choosing to be flawless with our word, we can rewrite the agreements we made with ourselves and create a new reality based on love and truth. It's not an easy task, as we have been conditioned to use our words in ways that harm and deceive. But by making a commitment to be impeccable with our word, we can begin to undo the damage that has been done. We can break free from the cycle of gossip and negativity, and we can start to create a world that is based on love, respect, and understanding. It all starts with us, with each individual committing to be impeccable with their word. It starts with recognizing the power and magic that our words hold and using that power for good. It starts with choosing to speak the truth, to express love and kindness, and to uplift and empower others with our words. In conclusion, every human is indeed a magician. We have the power to cast spells with our words, to either bring harm or healing. By choosing to be impeccable with our word, we can break free from the spells that have been cast upon us and create a world that is based on love and truth. It all starts with us taking responsibility for our words and using them wisely and consciously. When we see the world through the lens of a computer virus, it distorts our perception and makes it easier to justify cruel behavior. However, what we often fail to realize is that misuse of our words actually leads us deeper into a metaphorical hell. For many years, we have been influenced by the gossip and negative spells cast by the words of others. But we must also acknowledge that we contribute to this toxicity through the way we talk to ourselves. We constantly engage in self-talk, and most of the time our inner dialogue consists of negative statements about ourselves. We criticize our appearance, our intelligence, and our abilities, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of negativity. By using our words against ourselves in this way, we fail to understand the power and impact of the word. To truly comprehend the power of the word, we must embrace the first agreement: be impeccable with your word. When we commit to this agreement, we begin to witness transformative changes in our lives. These changes first manifest in the way we communicate with ourselves and eventually extend to our interactions with others, particularly those closest to us. Consider how frequently we gossip or speak ill of the people we love in order to gain support for our own point of view. We manipulate others' attention and spread poisonous words about our loved ones to validate our opinions. However, we must recognize that our opinions are merely subjective perspectives, not absolute truths. These opinions are influenced by our beliefs, ego, and dreams. By spreading this poison, we seek validation for our own point of view rather than acknowledging the inherent fallibility of opinions. If we truly commit to being impeccable with our word, we can gradually eliminate emotional poison from our minds and personal relationships, including our relationships with our pets. Impeccability of the word also ensures that we become impervious to negative spells cast by others. We only internalize negative ideas if our minds are fertile grounds for them. By maintaining impeccability, our minds become immune to words rooted in black magic and instead flourish with words rooted in love. The level of self-love is a measure of our words' impeccability. The more we love ourselves and feel positively about ourselves, the greater our words' quality and integrity. When we are impeccable with our word, we experience joy, peace, and general well-being. By making the agreement to be impeccable with our word, we can transcend the metaphorical hell we create for ourselves. In this moment, I plant the seed of this agreement in your mind. The growth and development of this seed depend on the receptiveness and fertility of your mind towards the seeds of love. It is your responsibility to make this agreement with yourself: I am impeccable with my word. Nurture this seed, and as it blossoms in your mind, it will produce more seeds of love to replace the seeds of fear. This initial agreement changes the type of seeds your mind is open to. Be impeccable with your word. This is the primary agreement that will free you, bring you happiness, and enable you to transcend the torturous existence that is akin to hell. It is an incredibly powerful agreement. Utilize the word in the correct manner. Use it as a tool to express your love. Employ white magic, starting with yourself. Affirm how wonderful and great you are. Remind yourself of the love you possess. Use your word to break the countless, debilitating agreements that cause you suffering. It is absolutely possible to achieve this transformation. I accomplished it, and I am no different from you. We share the same brains and bodies, we are humans. If I could break those destructive agreements and establish new ones, so can you. If I can be impeccable with my word, there is no reason why you cannot be as well. This single agreement has the power to revolutionize your entire life. The impeccability of your word can guide you towards personal freedom, tremendous success, abundance, the elimination of all fear, and its transformation into pure joy and love. Just imagine the possibilities that await you with the impeccability of your word. Through this commitment, you can transcend the nightmare of fear and live a completely different life. You can reside in a heavenly state amidst countless individuals trapped in their own personal hells because you are immune to their negativity. You have the potential to attain the kingdom of heaven through this one agreement. Be impeccable with your word. 3. The second agreement. Don't take anything personally. The second agreement in the book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, is don't take anything personally. This agreement is derived from the first agreement, which is to be impeccable with your word. The second agreement encourages individuals to not take things personally and not to make assumptions about what others say or do. According to Don Miguel Ruiz, when someone says or does something to you, it is a reflection of them and their own beliefs and opinions, rather than a reflection of yourself. When you take things personally, you are allowing the opinions and actions of others to affect you and your emotional state. This can lead to suffering and conflict within yourself. Taking things personally stems from personal importance, which is the belief that everything revolves around me. It is a form of selfishness and a manifestation of the ego. During our upbringing and education, we are conditioned to take everything personally and to feel responsible for everything. This conditioning leads us to believe that others' perceptions of us are accurate and that their words and actions have a direct impact on our worth and identity. However, Don Miguel Ruiz argues that everyone is living in their own dream, their own world, and their own minds. They have their own beliefs and opinions based on their experiences and conditioning. When someone says something negative or hurtful to you, it is a projection of their internal world and does not necessarily reflect reality. By not taking things personally, you become immune to the emotional poison that others may try to send your way. People may have their own triggers and insecurities that cause them to lash out or criticize others. When you don't internalize their words and actions, you remain unaffected and free from unnecessary suffering. The author emphasizes that what others say or do is their problem, not yours. Their opinions and actions do not define you or determine your worth. By not taking things personally, you release the need for validation and approval from others. You no longer depend on external factors to feel good about yourself. It is important to distinguish between truth and perception. Even if someone compliments or insults you, it does not change who you are. You know your worth and do not need others to reaffirm it. Your happiness and self-acceptance come from within, not from external sources. Don Miguel Ruiz also highlights that the mind has the ability to talk to itself and perceive information from other realms. Sometimes, we hear voices or have thoughts that seemingly come from outside ourselves. It is essential to discern the truth and not take everything we hear in our own minds personally. The second agreement reminds us to be discerning and critical of the beliefs and opinions we hold. It prompts us to question and investigate our own internal dialogue. By becoming aware of the conflicting agreements and beliefs within our own minds, we can find clarity and make choices that align with our true selves. Overall, not taking anything personally is a powerful tool for personal growth and liberation. It allows us to break free from the need for external validation and the suffering that comes from attaching ourselves to other people's opinions and actions. By practicing this agreement, we can cultivate inner peace, happiness, and resilience even in the face of adversity. 4. The third agreement. Don't make assumptions. The third agreement, don't make assumptions, emphasizes the damaging effects of making assumptions in our lives. Making assumptions means accepting our beliefs as truths, even though they may not necessarily be accurate. Whether it's assuming what others are thinking or doing, or assuming that our assumptions are correct, we are setting ourselves up for misunderstandings and conflict. When we make assumptions, we often take things personally and react by sending emotional poison through our words. This emotional poison can create sadness and drama in our lives. The entire world of control between humans is built on assumptions and taking things personally. Our dream of hell, where fear and negativity thrive, is based on this behavior. The habit of making assumptions leads to chaos in our minds, causing us to misinterpret and misunderstand things. We only see and hear what we want to, and we create fantasies and dreams based on these assumptions. This can lead to disappointment and heartache when we realize that our assumptions were not aligned with reality. In relationships, making assumptions can be particularly detrimental. We often assume that our partners should know what we think or want without us having to communicate it explicitly. When our assumptions are not met, we feel hurt and blame the other person for not understanding us. This can lead to fights, difficulties, and misunderstandings with the people we love. We also make assumptions about ourselves, which creates inner conflicts. We may overestimate or underestimate ourselves because we don't take the time to ask ourselves questions and clarify our true desires and abilities. We may justify our likes and dislikes in relationships, making assumptions about changing the other person with our love. However, love doesn't change anyone unless they themselves want to change. Humans have a need to justify and understand everything in order to feel safe. We make assumptions to satisfy this need, even if the answers are not correct. We assume what others are thinking or feeling, and we assume the worst about ourselves if we believe others will judge or abuse us. This fear of judgment leads us to reject ourselves before others have a chance to reject us. To break free from the cycle of assumptions, we must have the courage to ask questions. Clear communication is key to avoiding assumptions. If we don't understand something, it's better to ask for clarification than to make assumptions. By asking questions and seeking clarity, we eliminate the need for assumptions as we discover the truth. It may be difficult to break the habit of making assumptions because we often do it unconsciously. Becoming aware of our habits and understanding the importance of not making assumptions is the first step. However, to truly make a change, we must take action repeatedly. By continuously practicing clear communication and avoiding assumptions, these new habits will become second nature. The magic of our word, our communication, transforms us from negative black magicians to positive white magicians. We can use our word for creation, giving, sharing, and loving. By making the agreement of not making assumptions a habit, our entire lives will be transformed. We will attract what we need easily, and spirit will flow freely through us. This mastery of intent, spirit, love, gratitude, and life is the goal of the Toltec teachings. It leads to personal freedom and liberation from the confines of our assumptions. 5. The fourth agreement. Always do your best. The fourth agreement, to always do your best, is not about perfection or achieving a certain standard of excellence. It's about giving your all in every moment, no matter the circumstances. Your best will vary from moment to moment, from day to day, depending on factors such as your energy level, health, and emotional state. But as long as you are giving your best in that particular moment, you can be content with your efforts. Doing your best is an ongoing practice, a habit that you need to cultivate. As you commit to always doing your best, you will find that your best becomes better over time. Your skills, abilities, and capacity to handle challenges and tasks will improve as you continue to strive for excellence. But it's important to remember that your best will never be the same all the time, and that's okay. When you push yourself too hard, trying to do more than your best, you exhaust yourself and deplete your energy. This can actually hinder your progress and make it harder for you to achieve your goals. On the other hand, if you do less than your best, you may feel guilty, frustrated, and disappointed in yourself. It's about finding that balance and giving your best without putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. By always doing your best, you break free from the patterns of self-judgment, guilt, and self-punishment. You accept yourself as you are in each moment, without the need to compare yourself to others or to an idealized version of yourself. You release the need for external validation and embrace the joy and satisfaction that comes from self-acceptance and self-love. When you do your best, you live your life with intensity and passion. You become productive, not just in terms of accomplishing tasks, but in terms of living your life wholeheartedly. You give yourself fully to your family, community, and everything you do. Your actions become a way to express your love and enjoyment for life, rather than a means to seek external rewards. Most people operate on the belief that they have to work for the reward, whether it's money, recognition, or praise. They only take action when they expect something in return, and they don't truly enjoy the process. In contrast, when you do your best for the sake of doing it, not for the reward, you find joy and fulfillment in every action. You become fully present and engaged in the moment, and the action itself becomes its own reward. It's important to note that doing your best is not limited to specific tasks or actions. It applies to all areas of your life. Whether you are at work, with your family, pursuing a hobby, or simply taking care of yourself, always strive to do your best. It's about embodying excellence in everything you do, regardless of the external circumstances. By doing your best, you break free from the shackles of self-judgment and self-sabotage. You no longer need to prove yourself or seek validation from others. You are in control of your own happiness and fulfillment. You become a master of transformation, constantly growing and evolving, learning from your mistakes, and becoming better with every effort. It's important to remember that doing your best is not always easy. There will be obstacles, challenges, and temptations that try to divert you from your commitment. But with a strong will, determination, and perseverance, you can stay true to your commitment and keep striving to do your best. Ultimately, the choice to always do your best is yours. It's a choice that requires discipline, self-awareness, and a deep understanding of your own values and priorities. 6. Toltec's Way to Freedom. Breaking Old Conventions. Here the author talks about the concept of freedom and why many individuals do not experience true freedom in their lives. It suggests that true freedom is the ability to be who we really are, to express ourselves and to live our lives authentically. However, the passage indicates that many external factors and internal beliefs prevent us from being free. The author begins by questioning the idea of freedom in society. While we may think we live in a free country, the paragraph says that we are not really free because we hold ourselves back. We blame external factors such as government, weather, parents, religion, and even God for our lack of freedom. However, the passage indicates that we are the ones who prevent ourselves from being free. To better understand what it means to be free, the clip examines the behavior of young children. He describes children as being naturally free because they do whatever they want and are not afraid to express their feelings. They live in the present moment, explore the world, and experience joy and love without fear or anxiety. However, as adults, we lose this freedom and become burdened with societal responsibilities and expectations. The author points out that our lack of freedom is influenced by the judge, the victim, and the belief system. These forces control our minds and prevent us from being honest with ourselves. The author emphasizes that we should not blame our parents or anyone who has affected us negatively because they were simply imparting what they knew. Instead, we are encouraged to take responsibility for our freedom and to break free from these oppressive influences. The author highlights the importance of awareness as the first step towards personal freedom. It suggests that we must first recognize that we are not free in order to effect change. Without awareness of the negative beliefs and emotional wounds that grip us, we cannot begin to heal and become liberated. The author asserts that there is no reason to suffer and that we must rebel and declare war against the parasite that takes over our minds. 3 solutions are offered to get rid of the parasite and achieve true freedom. The first is to face our fears head-on and overcome them one by one. The second is to stop feeding the parasite by controlling our emotions and refraining from fueling the negative feelings that stem from fear. The third solution is consecration of the dead, a symbolic death that kills the parasite within us without harming our physical bodies. This solution is described as the fastest but also the most difficult to implement and requires tremendous courage and strength. In conclusion, the author tells us about the concept of true freedom and the various factors that hinder us from experiencing it. It emphasizes the need for awareness and rebellion against oppressive forces and the courage to face our fears in order to break free and live a life of authenticity and joy. The Art of Transformation. The Dream of the Second Attention. The concept of transformation and the dream of the second attention is based on the understanding that our current reality and beliefs are shaped by external influences and societal conditioning. This process, known as domestication, sets the foundation for our first dream, the beliefs and agreements that shape our perception of the world. To change our beliefs and create a new dream, we need to shift our attention and focus on questioning and changing the agreements we have made with ourselves. This requires awareness, the first step towards transforming our dream. By becoming aware of the fog in our minds and recognizing that we are constantly dreaming, we open up the possibility of transforming our reality. Changing our beliefs starts with identifying the self-limiting, fear-based beliefs that make us unhappy. This process involves taking an inventory of our beliefs and agreements and actively working towards changing them. The Toltecs referred to this as the art of transformation, a mastery of reprogramming our minds and breaking the fear-based agreements that cause suffering. One way to facilitate this transformation is by adopting alternative beliefs, such as the 4 agreements. These agreements, namely, be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best, offer a framework to challenge and change the limiting beliefs that hinder personal growth. Adopting the 4 agreements is a declaration of war against the parasite, the external influences that feed us limiting beliefs. It is a step towards regaining our freedom and ending emotional pain. As we break each agreement, we gain personal power and increase our ability to face deeper and more ingrained demons within ourselves. The process of breaking agreements can be gradual, starting with smaller agreements that require less power and increasing in difficulty as our personal power grows. For example, someone who was told they couldn't sing can start by overcoming the belief in their ugly voice by attempting to sing, even if they do it badly. By pretending to receive applause and positive feedback, they break the agreement bit by bit, gradually gaining the power and courage to truly break free. However, breaking agreements that cause suffering is not enough. To ensure that the old agreement does not resurface, it must be replaced with a new agreement that brings happiness. By occupying the same space with a new agreement, the old one is permanently replaced. It is important to acknowledge that the process of transformation may seem hopeless due to the strong beliefs and addiction to our current way of thinking. Breaking agreements requires the same amount of power that was used to make them in the first place. Our personal power is often invested in maintaining these agreements because they have become like addictive patterns that we are familiar with. We may be addicted to negative emotions and self-limiting beliefs, convincing ourselves that we are not good enough or intelligent enough. To truly adopt new agreements and transform our dream, repetition is key. We need to actively practice and integrate the new agreements into our daily lives. With time and repetition, the mastery of transformation is achieved, allowing our best selves to continuously improve and evolve. In essence, the art of transformation and the dream of the second attention involve recognizing the power of our attention, questioning and changing our beliefs and agreements, and actively practicing new agreements to create a new and fulfilling reality. It is a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and liberation from the constraints of societal conditioning. Warrior discipline, control your behavior. Warrior discipline is about controlling his behavior and emotions. The concept is explained through a scenario where a person wakes up feeling excited and happy to have a huge fight with his wife that drains all his energy and leaves him feeling emotionally drained and unable to function properly throughout the day. The author emphasizes that everyday humans have a certain amount of mental, emotional, and physical energy to expend. If emotions are allowed to drain this energy, there will be nothing left to change one's life or offer to others. He explains that the way individuals see the world is influenced by the feelings they are feeling in that moment. For example, when they are angry, everything around them is wrong, and when they are sad, everything around them is sad. The analogy of the human mind to injured skin is presented. Just as a skin injury causes pain and discomfort, emotional wounds cover the mind and cause suffering. These emotional wounds contain emotional poison such as hate, anger, envy, and sadness, which affects the perception of the world. The text argues that this wounded and poisoned state of mind has been normalized and accepted as part of human nature, but in fact it is not normal. The author also explains that humans are mentally ill with a disease called fear, which manifests itself in various negative emotions. This fear is so powerful that it can lead to mental illness and psychotic behavior. However, there is hope for recovery and overcoming this state of mind. The cure lies in asking for forgiveness. By forgiving those who have wronged us, not because they deserve it but because we love ourselves enough to no longer suffer, we can let go of resentment and treat ourselves with compassion. The author highlights that forgiveness is the key to healing. When forgiveness is complete, there is no longer an emotional reaction to the person who caused the wound. The truth is like a scalpel, it is painful but necessary to heal the wounds covered by lies and denial. The importance of impulse control is emphasized, as it is emotions that often control human behavior and not the other way around. Controlling emotions and achieving perfection in your words and actions is what allows individuals to become spiritual warriors. It is through this discipline and control that one can break free from fear-based conventions, escape suffering, and create personal paradise. To become a warrior, it is necessary to have certain characteristics, such as awareness and discipline. This discipline is not about external rules or restrictions, but about being true to oneself. The warrior has control, not over others, but over their emotions and behavior. They reserve their feelings and express them at the right moment instead of suppressing them out of fear. This impeccable control and behavior distinguishes warriors from victims. The initiation of the dead, embracing the angel of death. The initiation of the dead, also known as embracing the angel of death, is a concept that teaches us how to attain personal freedom and truly live. It is about recognizing that death is inevitable and using this knowledge to appreciate and make the most out of each present moment. Many of us have the belief that we have plenty of time in the future and don't consider the fact that we could die at any given moment. However, if we were given the news that we have only 1 week to live, our perspective would drastically change. In that situation, we have two choices: to suffer and create a dramatic narrative around our impending death, or to use every remaining moment to be happy and do things that bring us joy. Choosing to embrace the angel of death means choosing to live each day as if it were our last, without the burden of worrying about the future or what others think of us. We become truly present, appreciating the sun, expressing gratitude for being alive, and setting aside the need to please others. The angel of death teaches us to be completely open and fearless, knowing that there is nothing to be afraid of. We love and cherish the people in our lives, making sure to express our feelings to them because we understand that our time together may be limited. Living this way prepares us for the initiation of death, which involves the death of our old belief systems and dreams. While we may retain memories of our past experiences, the parasitic thoughts and behaviors driven by the judge and victim within us will die. The initiation of death is not an easy process, as the judge and victim will fight to hold on to their power. They don't want to die, and we feel losing ourselves in the process. When we live solely in the dream of the planet, we are essentially dead. However, those who undergo and survive the initiation of the dead receive an incredible gift, the resurrection. The resurrection signifies rising from the dead and reclaiming our true selves. In this state, we are like children, wild and free, but with the added wisdom that comes from breaking free from our domestication. We heal our minds and regain our freedom to use our own thoughts and run our own lives. The angel of death teaches us to surrender everything we have, our possessions, relationships, and egoic identities, recognizing that they are temporary and ultimately not truly ours. By surrendering to the angel of death, we find eternal happiness because it takes away the burdens of the past, allowing us to live fully in the present. The past is constantly being taken away by the angel of death, leaving us with the present moment to enjoy. When we cling to the past or constantly dream of the future, we carry the heavy weight of the past that hinders our ability to fully experience and enjoy the present. The angel of death teaches us to let go of this burden and live fully in the now. By doing so, we can achieve true personal freedom and live a life filled with joy and fulfillment. 7. The New Dream. God's Heaven on Earth. In the new dream, Heaven on Earth, the author urges readers to forget everything they've learned and embrace a new understanding and dream. They affirm that the dream we are living is of our making and our perception of reality, and we have the ability to change it at any time. The author encourages us to use our brains, imagination, and emotions to dream differently, imagine the world with new eyes, and realize love in everything around us. Imagine that we are living a new life, a life free of conflict with ourselves or with others, where we are not afraid to express our dreams and desires. In this new life, we are not constrained by fear of others' judgment and can easily forgive and let go of any judgments we hold. We are not afraid to love and be loved, free from the fear of rejection or the need for acceptance. We can take risks without fear and accept life fully. Furthermore, the author stresses the importance of loving and accepting ourselves as we are. They assert that only love can put us in a state of bliss, which is like falling in love. And that it is entirely possible to live in this state of bliss all the time, just as others have done by changing their agreements and dreaming a different dream. The author suggests that once we experience a state of bliss and realize that heaven on earth is real and possible, it is up to us to make the effort to preserve it. They draw on the teachings of various spiritual figures, such as Jesus and Buddha, who spoke of love and the kingdom of heaven. The author assures the readers that they do not have to do anything extraordinary, they just have to imagine that love is possible and embrace it. The author describes the world as beautiful and wonderful, emphasizing that life can be easy when love becomes our way of life. They assert that love at work produces nothing but happiness and inner peace, and changes our perception of everything. They encourage readers to live with the eyes of love and be aware that love is all around us, stating that this way of living will rid our minds of the fog of negative thinking. This way of life, according to the author, is what humans have sought for centuries: happiness, a lost paradise. They assert that this is possible and that it is in our hands to achieve it. They argue that our identity is currently intertwined with the dream planet, which is full of beliefs and agreements that make it difficult to let go and experience love. The author acknowledges the existence of the parasite, the ego, and points out that it is not our true selves, but something we have attached to ourselves out of intimacy and a misplaced sense of security. The author concludes by highlighting that suffering is a choice, just like happiness. They assert that although we may not be able to escape our fate as humans, we can choose whether to suffer or enjoy our destiny. The choice is between living in hell or living in heaven, and the author announces his personal choice to live in heaven, leaving the readers to decide their own path. Prayers. Prayer is a deeply personal and spiritual practice that allows individuals and communities to connect with a higher power or divine energy. It serves as a way to express gratitude, seek guidance, find solace, and foster a sense of connection with something greater than ourselves. The prayer shared above invites everyone to participate in a profound experience of communion with the Creator. The prayer begins by encouraging the individual to close their eyes and open their heart, emphasizing the importance of feeling the love that emanates from within. By consciously focusing on love, we create a strong connection and unity of feeling with others who engage in this prayer. It acknowledges the power of collective intention and the profound impact it can have on individual well-being. The next step is to bring attention to the lungs and the act of breathing. This is symbolic of the life-giving force that sustains us, highlighting the inherent pleasure and joy derived from fulfilling such a fundamental need. It reminds us that the simple act of being alive is a tremendous blessing. By connecting this experience of pleasure with the feeling of love, the prayer encourages a deep appreciation for life itself and the interconnectedness of all living beings. The prayer then addresses the Creator, acknowledging them as love itself and expressing a desire to commune with that divine essence. It recognizes that love is the foundation of the universe and seeks to align oneself with that vibration and frequency. By aspiring to love life, and to be love, we strive to emulate the qualities of the Creator. The prayer appeals for help in loving without conditions, expectations, or judgment. It recognizes that self-judgment leads to feelings of guilt and the need for punishment. By actively choosing to love and accept ourselves unconditionally, we break free from the cycle of self-criticism and embrace our inherent worthiness. Furthermore, the prayer asks for assistance in loving all of creation unconditionally, especially other human beings. It emphasizes that rejecting others ultimately means rejecting ourselves and the Creator. By striving to accept others as they are, without judgment, blame, or a desire to punish, we create a space for compassion and understanding to flourish. The prayer also calls for the cleansing of emotional poison and the release of judgment from our hearts and minds. This purification allows for a state of inner peace and complete love to manifest. It acknowledges that today is a special day, an opportunity to open our hearts and express love authentically, without fear. Moreover, the prayer offers oneself to the Creator, inviting them to use our voice, eyes, hands, and hearts to share love with others. This act of surrendering to the divine will is an expression of humility and a desire to serve as a vessel for love in the world. The prayer concludes with gratitude, expressing thanks for the blessings received and the freedom to be our authentic selves. The word Amen signifies agreement, affirmation, and unity with the prayer's intentions and serves as a seal of completion. In summary, this prayer invites individuals to tap into their capacity to love and connect with a higher power. It encourages self-acceptance, non-judgment, and unconditional love towards others to bring forth inner peace, genuine connection, and a communion of love with the Creator. Prayer for Love. A beautiful prayer for love, describing a dreamlike scenario in which the protagonist encounters an old man who radiates a beautiful light. The old man shares his story of how he attained this radiant love, and in doing so, teaches the protagonist how to cultivate love within themselves. The old man's journey begins with his teacher, who opened his own chest and took out a beautiful flame from his heart. This flame represents the teacher's love. The teacher then opens the chest of the old man and places this flame within his heart. As soon as the old man's heart is filled with this flame of love, he experiences intense love and becomes one with it. As the flame grows, it becomes a fire that purifies everything it touches. This fire extends to every cell of the old man's body, causing his body to love him back and becoming one with him. It further touches every emotion of his mind, transforming them into a strong and intense love. The old man then learns to love himself completely and unconditionally. However, the old man's love does not stop there. He decides to share his love with the world. He places a piece of his love in every tree, flower, grass, and animal, becoming one with each of them. His love continues to grow and he puts his love in every crystal, stone, and element of nature, including the water, oceans, rivers, rain, and snow. The old man feels a deep connection with the earth, wind, oceans, and nature as a whole. He even puts a little piece of his love in every star, moon, and sun, becoming one with the celestial bodies. Ultimately, he puts a piece of his love in every human, becoming one with the entire human race. This interconnectedness allows him to see himself in the eyes of others. The old man then shares this flame of love with the protagonist, opening his chest and putting the flame in their heart. Now, the protagonist also becomes one with the wind, water, stars, all of nature, animals, and humans. They feel the heat and light emanating from the flame in their heart, and their head shines with a beautiful light of different colors. In gratitude for this divine love, the protagonist offers a prayer to the Creator of the universe. They express their gratitude for the gift of life and everything they have ever truly needed. They acknowledge the Creator's presence within them, with their pure and boundless spirit and radiant light. The protagonist also thanks the Creator for using their words, eyes, and heart to share love wherever they go. They profess their love for the Creator just the way they are and extend this love to themselves. Furthermore, they asked for guidance in keeping love and peace in their heart and making love a new way of life. In conclusion, this prayer for love beautifully captures the essence of cultivating and spreading love. It teaches us to connect with the divine love within us, share it with the world, and live a life filled with love and peace. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to like and share it with your friends. Your support means a lot to us. If you have any suggestions or requests for future videos, please leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas. Stay tuned for more exciting content coming your way.